Hood with Spot on Sports, and today I am joined by Chanel Starling and Des Rule of ESPN and Mr. John Davis of Caesar's Corner. How you guys doing today?
Good. Thank you for
Good, we're
having me.
good.
Thank you guys for
Good.
coming and
For
joining
sure.
us today. So, in the light of everything that's going on, today we'll be discussing the current events surrounding the killing of George Floyd and that basically enticed protests around the world. So, guys, um, this past week or these past 2 weeks has been very hard on everyone. I know. Tell me, guys, how are you guys feeling right now?
You know, start out. Should I
You can
see you?
go. No, you can go. You
Yeah.
can go. No, it's fine. You can go.
Okay, okay. Uh, it's been a long week. It's been a really long week. I think for everybody, black people, people of color, even some whites, not all, but some whites, and this is something that isn't an isolated incident. So this is something that sadly we're all a little bit too familiar with. Some people even a lot of bit familiar with, just depending on who you ask. Um, I know a lot of people on this show who watch this show who join the show are from the South, and so we definitely are familiar with a lot of this that doesn't always go viral and everything like that. And but this is a whole problem as a whole within the nation. So I think the best way to describe it is it's just been a really long week that we're just too familiar with.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I think what makes it super hard is that this tragedy happened. We had to watch it happen, and life kind of goes on. We have to go to work. We have to show up to our jobs and act like, we're okay when we're not. And then that brings the tough conversations we have to have with our coworkers and, people around us and our friends and some people who we thought were our friends. And I think the aftermath of it is just as bad because now we have people talking that shouldn't be talking. Um, and they're making it harder. They're people that we may have looked up to um, and admired, and they're saying hurtful things, and it's not making what happened better. We know what happened is terrible. It's a terrible thing. And just the words that are coming out of people's mouth is so ignorant that it's hurtful. And I think that's kind of one of the hardest parts too, because we have to deal with it. And in dealing with it, a lot of people aren't saying things that aren't like they aren't saying the right things, and that is more hurtful.
I think for me, the last week and the week and a half, it's just been crazy to see racism come to a head in this country. For me, in my generation, the first one that really shook me was the Trayvon Martin. And since then you've had Mike Brown, Alton Sterling, Philando
Absolutely.
Castile, Ahmaud Arbery, George Floyd, just Sandra Bland, just so many names, so many stories, so many Black people that have been the victims of being misproportionately treated in this country. Police brutality, white supremacy, and these are things that have gone on for so long. I think of my grandfather who was born in 1948, and he saw Dr. King. Just all of this, Dr. King be assassinated. I was born in '93, but Rodney King happened in '92. So George Floyd isn't new. This, we've been screaming this, we've been saying this, we've been misproportionately treated, and the fact that we even have to fight to be equal, we have to fight for equality, we have to fight for equity, we have to fight for a seat at the table, we have to fight for the same rights as white people. And Greg Popovich, to bring this back to sports, said it best. Like for so long, whites have had the privilege of ignoring what blacks and people of color go through in this country. So it's just really sad that in 2020 we're dealing with this and this has come to a head. I'm hopeful for change, but I'm also cautiously optimistic because, like I said, this has been going on for centuries. And I don't know what it was about the George Floyd killing that sparked all of this. I'm happy that a movement has started and we've begun to move forward with action. But nothing in the past history of the United States of America has shown me um, that this won't continue to be an issue in this country, and that's really sad.
And I
Absolutely,
think
guys.
I think another thing that kind of is tough is that we have this leader of the country, and he's terrible. He's absolutely terrible. And
But I say leader was
we,
a generous word.
yeah, I had to do air quotes, but and we don't have that leader, like our parents or our grandparents had in Martin Luther King. You know what I mean? It's just so tough, and we have to, it's a problem we're going through, and we have to figure out the solution. Like, how do we figure out the solution of white cops killing black men? Like, how is that on us? You know what I mean? Like, how is it that we have to figure out what we need to do to stop that? It just feels like there's always a burden on us. We always have to figure out, the next move, or what's going to make this better, when it's like, we're tired. As a people, we are tired.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that's also like, it's just been really heavy.
I know
And
for me
I
guys, oops, I'm sorry. But yeah, for me guys, it's definitely tired and exhausting. We're overwhelmed because on top of that, we're dealing with a pandemic here, guys. So not to mention COVID-19, but and the amount of Black people that have died from COVID-19 as well. And that really shined a light on the inequalities when it comes to our health and when it comes to just a plethora of different things that Black people deal with every day. Um, but I literally had to take a mental health day on Monday because the everything, just the course of everything that how it unraveled throughout the entire weekend, it was just a lot for me. My heart felt really heavy and weary. Um, and also, like you mentioned before, that this leader person that we're supposed to be looking up to, somebody that could bail us out of this right now. And honestly, he could have stepped up any time throughout the weekend or when it first happened to just acknowledge that I hear you guys. I know what you guys want. Like, we're going to try to work to make it better. But let's be honest, guys. We were just really wishful thinking when it comes to this. And I think that's the main thing that America needed the most, for somebody to like be a leader and to just acknowledge, to know that that he heard us basically.
Yeah, and I just wanted to say that as bad as Donald Trump has been, I mean, he's openly incited violence, incited racism, and all of that. This has been a problem that's been going on in our country, regardless of the leadership. Even when we had a black president, we were dealing with this. Mike Brown and Ferguson happened under Obama, and I'm not saying that Obama had anything to do with it. All I'm saying is that this is a problem that's been going on regardless of the leadership. I think that Donald Trump has given racists and people that have those type of ideologies and those type of expressions a platform to be more open with it and to feel safe in their views. But this isn't a Donald Trump problem. This is a United States of America problem. It has been for 400
Absolutely.
years under Obama, under Bush, under Clinton. So it's not a leadership issue. It's the way that Black people and people of color are treated in America issue. It's a white people issue, and it'll continue to be an issue regardless of who's in office. If we continue to have the same structures, rules, and systematic oppression in place.
I totally agree with you, John, because I feel as though, you know, George Floyd was one of many Black men, but I believe that his death was the one that broke the camel's back when it comes to us having like enough is enough. And we're not going to just go with the, oh, we want justice, we protest for a little bit and things be over. Right now, it's about us trying to take action because, like you said, this is a United States of America problem. It's not just a Trump problem or a political problem like they're trying to make it, or blacks just want pretty much things for free. It's not that problem. This is the United States problem, like you said. And not only is it a United States problem, we're worldwide right now. We have people from all different countries supporting the movement. So not only that does we know, we're not the problem. The whole world knows what's going on here in America.
The whole world does know, and it's sad that people from other countries who probably haven't even been here are having to speak up and protest for us and stuff like that. That's hard to watch, where we're technically supposed to be, the protectors of freedom for the rest of the world. That's what we've established ourselves as, whether it's true or not. That's what we try to proclaim ourselves as. And what you see is these other countries having to do it for us, for Black people, not for everyone, but for Black people, because
Absolutely.
our own country does it seem to care enough to step up and stand up and say when there's a problem. We got companies some choosing to say when it is, some choosing to say, oh, we stand with everyone. Some choosing to say, no, this is a real problem. You got, police commissioners, you got politicians, whatever, who picking and choosing instead of just saying, no, this really is a police brutality problem. This is a racism problem. This is a white supremacy problem. This is everything that it truly, truly, truly is. And it's frustrating to watch. And yeah, I think it goes a lot deeper than just police, and it goes a lot deeper than just some people point out the military. Some people point out other stuff. It goes a lot deeper than that because you look at, just for example, like the protests that are going on right now. You look at, there are Black police out there who probably hate the fact that they have to be out there, but they don't really have a choice. And I saw like the video with Keke Palmer coming out now. Chanel, don't laugh, I'm going to pull my veteran card, but I am a 6-year veteran. Was her saying, take a walk, march with us, yada, 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 which is all good and well. And I agree with what she was saying. But I think what people don't understand is when you get upset with them for not making that move, there's different ramifications that people have to choose. So you got Black military members or just military members in general who agree with us and want to march with us and want to do certain things. But unlike police, if a military member gets off their post, they can go to jail for that. They can go to prison for that. People don't understand that. Where police are made a decision to do that, and you lose your post, you might lose your job, but you don't risk you losing your family, everything else too. So with everything that's going on, I think it's important that people understand the differences between who we're mad at and who we're upset about. And at the end of the day, we got to attack what the real issue is, and that's way deeper than just the police or just the whatever. It's a hate issue. Or really a love issue if you really want to be honest. And that's with Black, white, and everybody else involved. So we really got to attack the system, one, and two, make sure that we're having these talks and conversations with more than just ourselves. We have to, although we're sick of doing it, we have to continue to address the white people, the people not of color, and the people who don't side with us. And also white people have to address their own white people, because we can't go into your house and talk to your families. We can't go into your, whatever. Our places of worship are different than your places of worship. Let's just be real. So many different aspects that we don't reach that only white people can reach. And it's up to them to start stepping up and saying stuff and getting that story across, because we can't do it all.
I absolutely agree with you when it comes to that. So I know a lot of celebrities over the weekend. You saw everyone on the front lines and trying to use their voice more and speak up more. So what do you think that we should go from here as far as people using their platforms to? I guess we've raised the awareness. We have the attention. So now what?
I think that something that has been kind of irritating to me is that, some people beg people to speak. You have this platform, speak. Like, you don't need to be silent. But in
Right.
some cases, you do. You don't know what you're talking about. You're uneducated and you're insensitive. I don't want to hear what you have to say. I don't know who's following you. I don't want to, I don't, someone white can be following you, and whatever you say, they take that to heart and they're like, oh, okay, that's the right thing. Everyone doesn't need to speak. Just because you have a large platform, that doesn't mean you need to speak if you're not educated and um, if you're not going to be sensitive to the situation. I don't want everyone to speak. I don't want Kim Kardashian to speak if she's not going to be educated, and just because Kylie Jenner has a big platform, I don't need her to speak on behalf of us. I don't need her to, just because she has a big platform. I need people who actually know what's going on, who are educated. And, sometimes it is white people who are educated, and that's fine. You can speak, but I'm not going to beg and I'm not going to force people to use their platform if they really don't know what they're going to use it for, or if they don't know what they're saying.
See, I think that's a funny situation. Oh, my bad, John. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, as far as the next steps for just celebrities, anybody with a platform, I think it's just kind of following the steps that have been outlined by, Black Lives Matter and people on Twitter, people that have been generous enough to put together these funds, and these how-tos and these what-to-dos. Sign the petitions. Anybody that can donate money. I started a chain today of donating money and challenging friend groups to donate. marching, protesting. I think everybody has their niche. I've seen a lot of lawyers doing free pro bono work for people that have been arrested. Just like everybody has their niche, everybody can contribute in some way. And for these people that have these larger platforms and these larger sums of money that they're available to donate, that can only help more as far as the movement. They can put pressure on local officials. Just kind of use the platform and the power that they have. So many of these people, these celebrities, these higher ups, they have resources and connections that can go further than we would ever be able to influence or see. So it's time to use that and put that on the table. If you have relationships with politicians, have that conversation. If you have corporate sponsorships and different things, like make that statement. But like Chanel said, like make sure it's real and make sure that there's action behind it. Don't make a statement as a PR move. Make a statement as an expression of what's going on is wrong and being assertive and making that change. So I think that's what people that have that larger platform can do is really use their platform and their income, their money. I shouldn't say income, but just their money, their resources to give back to the Black community and to assist in the fight that we're going through right now.
Yeah, I agree with everything Jonathan's saying, completely right. And Chanel, I'm honestly with you too, but we definitely don't want everybody talking. But I will say this: I think that the celebrity situation is a little iffy at times, because I feel like when you have that type of reach and you have that type of clout, you have that type of power. There is a responsibility that comes with that, and you should be informed. If you're going around having that type of
Right.
importance and power, you're not informed. That's a mistake by you as a celebrity or as a person of power. So do we want everybody speaking? No, because they some people are ignorant, but it's also wrong of them to be ignorant with these type of situations, because for example, you brought up the Kardashians. They damn sure should be speaking, because they steal from our culture. They make
They
money
got
off.
Black kids.
They got Black kids. They all refuse to get off of Black. So at that point, yeah, you have a responsibility, because that's your kids.
Absolutely.
That's your kids that well, lucky their kids probably won't have to face it just because of where they're from, where they live, and who their mom and dad is. But generally, you understand that there is a difference between how you grew up and how your kids should grow up or will grow up or whatever else. So I think a lot of celebrities do have a responsibility to learn more and know more and be able to speak up more about than what they do, instead of talking out the side of their neck and not talking at all. But I agree, because people don't follow that, we don't want everybody talking.
And what I was gonna say, just real quick, is that to me it's kind of, we needed this movement, we needed this noise, like we needed this push behind it. But one thing about this one being trendy, and kind of this George Floyd, this is, like you said, the one that broke this one is different than one we've ever seen, just as far as the protests, the social media push, the coverage behind it and everything. Is people do feel pressure to speak, or people do feel pressure to say that, um, say something or make a statement, or a lot of white people or people that are non-Black feel compelled to put a statement out just to show their solidarity behind it. They don't really mean it. So I feel like this situation has also created a lot of that. A lot of people that don't really care about the situation or don't really feel the hate, the anger, or feel what's wrong. Even Drew Brees in his comments today, how I kind of joked with this before the call, how staunch he was in his comments, how stiff he was in his comments. When I see the flag, I show respect. It's just completely disrespectful. People really don't understand what we're going through, but because this has brought everybody to the light, it's brought everybody's attention to the matter. People feel like they have to speak, and everybody doesn't share the views that we have. So
Absolutely.
I completely agree with Chanel and Dez. It's like we don't want everybody speaking. We don't need everybody speaking. But the George Floyd death has brought so much attention. It's become such a trend that everybody feels compelled to speak.
I
I
said, these
think
people
it's
understand. If you're going to speak, it's okay to speak. If you don't agree,
right.
everybody's going to agree with you. That's fine. But don't be surprised when we got our opinions back.
I think the issue is that, which is not really an issue, it's just the confusion goes, is that with George Floyd is a totally different case, which to us, George Floyd, he could have been any of us. But George Floyd, America, well, the entire world sat there and watched this entire thing unfold for, what is it, 11 minutes or so, or 9+ minutes. And to see someone that had life and crying out for their life, and then to see him lifeless there, as the officer still just sat there with no remorse, no type of expression, no anything. And honestly, it's not a race thing when it comes to that. It's a right and a wrong. This is a human thing or inhumane thing. So I
Uh,
don't think it's that's one thing we're battling, and then the rest is the oppression, the system, the racism, the things that we've dealt with for over 400 plus years, which that is what something that a lot of them do not agree with, or they see opposite views. But when it comes to George Floyd, I think everyone should be or was about on the same page when it comes to that, because that's a simple thing of right and wrong, but it's something that we've been dealing with for years.
and I get that, and like I do think with it being on camera and us seeing that, it does make a difference. But we also watched Philando Castile get shot and killed in the car
Absolutely.
with his fiance and his daughter in the car. These companies didn't make statements. These celebrities didn't make statements when Trayvon Martin got killed, when Alton Sterling got killed, when Mike Brown got killed, when Philando Castile got killed. So to me, I'm not even really interested in what they're saying now because it's been happening. This isn't a Labor Day issue. I mean, excuse me, not Labor Day, Memorial Day issue. This didn't just start happening in 2020. Colin Kaepernick took a knee in 2016. Like I said, Rodney King happened in 1992. This has been happening. They've been silent. They didn't make statements. What's different about this one that they need to make statements now? They need to stand against white supremacy and racism and oppression. It's been happening. It happens. It seems like it happens once a month in this country. Like, why now? Why are the statements now? Why is it an issue now? Why can you not be passive any longer? Why have you been passive for so long? Why have you been quiet for so long?
To me, I think it's because now we're fed up and enough is enough. They don't want their businesses burned down to the ground. Not saying that was all the protesters. When it comes to a certain, a certain point, yes, we're protesting the right thing. Yes, we want to be peaceful. Yes, we have enticers that come and, start the riots. But yes, at this point, we're fed up. We have some people that have contributed to riots and stuff. So I think a lot of these corporations, they took the political move. They took the smart move that as soon as Target got tore up, they came out the very next day. Yeah, we could build another Target, but we support the Black Lives Matter movement. And since then, I don't know how many other Targets have been looted, but I think it's more, hey, if we don't, this pretty much no more straddling the fence. You're either for the cause or you're not. But I guess when we go ahead and talk about the NFL and different sporting teams getting behind the movement.
That's another interesting case because, I personally, again, can only speak for myself, and I'm not someone that really, when I say doesn't care whether they speak up or not, it don't change my life, your life, any of our lives, whether they speak up or not. Because again, you got the Redskins speaking up. They got one of the most racist signs in America. You got I forgot who the baseball team was. You got all types of teams coming out with racist symbols in their own thing. You got San Francisco 49ers coming out saying that, when we all know Cap, Eric Reed, all that. We can go through that. That's a whole nother show. Mm-hmm. So it's just so much that it's frustrating when the NFL all of a sudden cares. NFL all of a sudden cares. We know it's a political move. We know they're trying to make sure that they don't have to go through the crap they went through 2-3 years ago all over again. Yeah, because the same person that they're trying to stay neutral from, which is us, black people, and stay out of trouble with Donald Trump, the same one that crushed them when everything was going on with Kaepernick and everything, when they were taking the knee. That's why your numbers are so low. That's why no one's watching football. That's why the NFL is dying. Now they're trying to stay out of that way and stay out of this way. They're taking a neutral effect. And they say, oh, Black Lives Matter. Okay, cool. That's a safe thing. We can say that. But we ain't going to say police brutality. We're not going to say white supremacy. We're not going to say all these other words. We're going to say the one thing that we know we can push and get away with just a little bit to make it seem like we care. And that's what you're seeing all over again. So, yeah, I really don't even look for these teams, these leagues or whatever to stand up and look for it, because they're not going to do it anyway. It's all about the money. So that's just straight up. It's all about the money. So I could care less really what it is they say.
I'll go ahead. And first, before I get into this, I just want to say that as far as my comments on the last segment, I don't want to discourage any companies or any celebrities. I'm not saying they shouldn't speak. They definitely should use their platform to speak about what's going on because it's wrong. It's just frustrating that it had to happen in 2020 and not before that because this has been happening. So I just wanted to say that. As far as the NFL speaking out, I mean, I think 70 to 75% of the league is black, so they owe it to their players, their coaches, their staff members, and all of that to make statements. But like Des said, it's when you look at kind of some of the statements, that's if they even say Black Lives Matter, if they really address the issue. It's a lot of empty statements. I mean, you look at what Vic Fangio said today. I was just watching that interview. I mean, he didn't even look like he believed what he was saying, or he cared, or he even really cared to speak on it. I mean, just to say that you don't see racism in the NFL when we have a Rooney Rule in place. When Colin Kaepernick just took a stand in 2016 is just flat out ridiculous. So, I mean, and it's crazy because when you look at the NBA and you look how expressive the players are, and you look at how black people are really the face of the NBA and the global reach the game has, and just the respect the game has, and the way they attack social issues. And then you look at the NFL, who has a majority black population, and it's the complete opposite. You get racial undertones from the NFL, you get discrimination, and you kind of see the structure of power that we see in society in the NFL, where it's white people, especially in those management positions, are treated differently than black people. White people are given different opportunities than black people. It doesn't make sense that I think there's only 2 black GMs in the NFL, only 4 or 5 black coaches, and no black owners when the league is 70% black. So I think the league owes it to everybody that's helped build the NFL to speak. But I also, just like everything, like every celebrity, just everybody that has a platform, that they're using it the right way and really speaking out what's going on, and not speaking out as a way to try to please both sides, because this isn't a both sides issue. It's black and white at this point. It's right or wrong. Like Sequoia said, there's no more straddling the fence. So
Yeah, and I think for me, I'm kind of on the what piggyback off of what Des said. I really don't care to hear anything from the NFL in general because they're already dealing with their own racist issues. So I don't really care what they have to say. They have to make a statement because it's they just have to do it. It looked like it was something that it was just a regular generic statement that they made. It wasn't surprising to me. Everyone was upset. I mean, I'm upset that they didn't put any thought into it, but I'm not surprised at all when it comes to anything with the NFL. You can see the difference when you see the NBA because these coaches like Pop and Steve Kerr, they're not writing down their statements. It's coming from the heart. It's genuine. They genuinely care about their players.
And they're consistent about it.
Yes, in the NFL, these players they're just entertainers. They make me money, just like these college coaches. Okay, you don't want to say anything, but you're a millionaire off of this black boy that plays on your team and makes no money, but you don't have anything to say about what's going on. So it's just like I don't care to hear what the NFL has to say because I know it's not genuine. Kaepernick don't got a job. Eric Reed don't have a job. Like I really don't care what they have to say because there's so many things they can do and they could have been doing and they still haven't and they're not going to do it. So it's just like, for me, I'm at a point with the NFL. I'm like, put your money where your mouth is. Like, if Black Lives Matter, if you care about this, if you're for equality, have some more GMs, hire some more black coaches. Like, there's a lot of things you can do within your league. I'm not asking you to go out and riot and loot. I'm asking you to do something that you can actually change in your league, and they can't even do that. So I don't really care what they have to say as far as what's going on in the world right now because there's a lot of things they can do that they haven't done.
And it shouldn't be through incentive that they hire coaches through extra draft picks at it, whatever. And
right.
Which is
you gotta remember too, most owners can't say anything anyway because they've ruined it. Like the Texas brother came out and said something. The owner, he's the same one that called us what do you say, prisoners? So it's just like
can't let the inmates run the prison. That's what he
can't let the inmates run. Exactly what he said. Thank you. Come on, man.
And I just want to say real quick, as a Dallas Cowboys fan, enthusiast, I'm disappointed in the organization. I'm disappointed with some of the players on the Dallas Cowboys. But not only do I want to focus on the negative, I also want to shout out Dak Prescott for what he did today, putting his money where his mouth is, leading the charge, donating $1 million. I would encourage a lot of the people that have, for whatever reason, said negative comments about what Dak's doing to really research, where that money is going to go to, and his plan in that, and read what he put on social media. So I just wanted to throw that in there. Speaking of NFL.
I totally agree with you. And kind of what Des was saying, just want to piggyback off of that really quickly. When you mentioned that, we just don't want to hire, this many black coaches because, this is what the bar is now, or this is the thing to do now. It's almost like a modern day affirmative action with sports. So definitely don't want to get it to that point. It just basically should be, you know, can I get the job done? Can this person get the job done? Yes or no? And giving people an equal shot. And that's what we want at the end of the day is equality. But thank you guys so much for joining on. Do you guys have any last words for us before we head off here?
That's I think a lot has been said throughout this week and Twitter and everything else. So if anything, just find ways to donate, man. Find ways to help. Find ways to do something. Do something. Black, white, whatever. Do something. Right. But if you're sitting back just waiting, nothing at all, you're a problem, man. Straight up.
Yeah, and I think that to piggyback off of what Des said, it's a lot of people who are kind of at a standstill, like they're hurt and they don't know what to do. And what I do personally, like every night, I pray that some way, somehow, like God shows me like what my role is in this. I don't want to move and be I want to move and be efficient. I want to move and be impactful. If that means I'm protesting, okay. If that means I'm donating, okay. If that means I'm sending emails and I'm, okay. But I think that everyone, and Jonathan said earlier, everyone should find their niche. What are you good at? What can you do to be efficient? What can you do to be impactful? And do that. And if you are still, if you have a writer's block right now, you don't know what it is you're supposed to be doing, just read, educate yourself. Because as you're educating yourself more about what's going on, whether you're white or black, your ideas are going to come in your head. Your purpose is going to start flowing once you educate yourself more in what's going on. So I know a lot of people have been feeling discouraged because they don't really know what to do. But I mean, I think the first thing is just to read and educate yourself. And once you can educate yourself, then you can figure out what's your role in all of this.
Thank you, Chanel. That was perfectly said. Go ahead, John. I'm sorry.
No, this is just in conclusion. This is common sense. This is a human rights issue. If you find yourself questioning anything about George Floyd or anything that Black people are doing, or just why this is going on, but you don't find yourself questioning the racism or what's going on to Black people, or why are we being treated this way, you're simply wrong. It's really that simple. It just all starts with love and respect. Just having love and respect for your neighbor, compassion, empathy, sympathy, and we just want to be equal. That's all we want. But it comes back to the golden rule, and I'll end it with that. Treat people how you want to be treated, and we wouldn't have this issue.
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us today. Thank you, Chanel and Des, and thank you so much, John, as always. We really appreciate you guys for, coming, stopping by, and giving us your input on what's going on around the world today. Like I said before, yes, and like Chanel said, just educate yourself, you guys. If wondering what it is that you can do, definitely educate yourself, pray about it, do anything, go online, and they have a lot of different platforms you can donate, or you can text in different numbers and they send you information about what's going on and what is the next movement as well. And like I said before, I want to thank my guests for calling in with us today. And I am Sequoia Hood with Spot on Sports. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Hey, good stuff, y'all. Really good stuff, for sure, for sure.
Oh, that was really good.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, y'all said a lot of good stuff. This was a really good episode. I think we tackled it from all angles, talked about it from all angles. It was really good. That was some really good content. It was really good to hear y'all perspectives too on it, because even though we all black, we all see it. That don't
And
mean we
different
necessarily
views,
see it.
yeah.
Right, see the same way. Yep. Yeah.
Cool.
Like we talking about celebrity, that's why I wanted to answer back on what she was saying. It was like, yeah, I feel you, but I'm also feeling this way. Like that's important, man. It's just different people's opinions. Not everybody is full black. Everybody's black from the south. Everybody's black from the north. You just don't know. You just don't know. So look at it. It's a lot going on, man. It's a lot going on.
Where Tony at?
He right
I ain't hear Tony at all during the whole thing.
Tony said you ain't finna mess up his endorsements.
Right. Tony said I work for Fox and I can't tell my
Hey, chill out, man. I said
Tony, you finna mess up Tony's endorsements, man.
You got these fancy folks from Espen on here talking about I work at Fox.